Amber here, and today we're going to be doing a foundational yoga practice for back pain. So again, I'm not a doctor, this is not a prescription, but maybe some of the things we do today might help release any pain or tension that you might be feeling in your back due to posture or sitting at desk or just various different reasons that this is a pretty common thing that we deal with. So anyway, let's get to the mat and get started, and hopefully just some gentle stretches, moving around might release some tension in your back and help you feeling better soon. So anyway, things that you might like to have for today's practice. A blanket, again, doesn't have to be like this, but just any kind of blanket, maybe folded up kind of like this is good. Again, not mandatory. You don't have to have any props necessarily for today's practice, but it can be helpful to have a blanket. Another thing that you might like to have would be a block. Again, if you don't have a block, maybe just like if you have a thick book, like a big textbook or a phone book or something like that, could work. Again, not mandatory, but it can be helpful sometimes. I also have this, and this is totally not mandatory, especially if you have a blanket, but this is just a little knee pad thing that you can put under your knees. This is especially good for if you're someone who has knee issues, or just has any tenderness in your knees. We'll be doing like some lunges and things like that a little bit today. So you might like to have something like this, but honestly, if you have a blanket, you could just use the blanket for that as well. I just happen to have one, so I'm just showing it here as an option. But anyway, props or no props, let's just get started by finding a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like today for you. And maybe sit on a blanket or not, it's your choice, but just let your sitting bones root down towards the floor and let the crown of your head lengthen up towards the ceiling. So you're sitting up tall with a nice upright spine. Letting your shoulders relax down away from your ears, so it's not too tense. So you just kind of find that good posture, but also let it relax a little. Your eyes may be open or closed. We'll just start by connecting. Take a little brief moment here to connect to our breath. So just start to breathe in and out through your nose. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in and breathe out. And just continue as best as you can to follow along this steady, rhythmic breath today throughout your practice. Maybe inhale, let, exhale, go if you want. And just start to, as you connect with this breath, just take a moment to perhaps set a little intention for your practice or for your day, just something that feels positive or soothing to you that you would like to focus on during this time on your mat. As we sit with this breath and perhaps an intention, if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them. We're just going to start with some little shoulder rolls. Just roll your shoulders up by your ears and then down and back. And just do that a couple more times here on your own. Just starting to wake up the body if needed. Release any stress or tension in your shoulders. And then just allow your shoulder blades to relax down your back. Still keeping the upright spine. Inhale, tilt your chin up towards the ceiling. And just pause, take a moment here, stretching along the front of your neck. The next breath in, come back up to neutral. Exhale your chin down to your chest, chest to your chin. This time stretching along the back of your neck. Breathe in, shoulders still relaxed. As you breathe out, begin to slide your chin over towards your right shoulder. You can just pause for a moment here. You turn to look out over your shoulder a little bit. Maybe tilt your head back a little bit if that feels good. And then eventually make your way back down through center and over to the left. And the same thing here. And just pause for a moment. And then make your way back down through center and come back up to neutral from here. And then if you're sitting on a blanket, you can just set that off to the side for now. But still have it available. You might find it helpful, as well as your block or book or whatever you have there. And then come to hands and knees, tabletop. So fingers spread wide, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees with a flat back. And moving right into cat and cow. Inhale, look forward. And relax down towards the earth. As your tailbone tilts up towards the ceiling, gazing forward into your cow. And then exhale, draw your navel into your spine, so your tailbone tilts towards the earth. Gaze at your navel for cat. Inhale, shift forward, arch your spine into your cow. And exhale, gently round into your cat. And just continue to flow through these cat and cow movements at your own pace and with your own breath. As always, just take your time. This is your practice. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine or anyone else's. Just your time on the mat to take care of you. And just notice if you feel any release in your spine already. It's a little warm-up movement. And then make your way back to your tabletop, back to your hands and knees, and shift your seat to your heels. Child's pose. Any variation is fine here, although if you stretch your arms out in front of you, you might really feel even more of a stretch and relief through your shoulder blades and upper back as well. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, shift forward back to your tabletop. And then from here, fingers spread wide, shoulders over your wrists, or you can take your wrists a little wider than your shoulders if you want. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up to the sky. First downward dog of the practice. Take a moment, check it out, check in, make any movements that feel good. Maybe bend one knee and then the other, kind of walk it out. Maybe shift your head a little from side to side or front and back. Just kind of take a moment to just check in, notice how it feels today. This first downward dog. And then from here, we do something a little different. Inhale, lift your right foot up off the floor. So coming into our three-leg downward dog here. Take a moment, just really stretch the leg, feel some energy through that leg. Inhale, slide your right foot forward, knee over your ankle. You can always help with a walk if needed. Hands to each side of that foot. Exhale, lower your left knee. And this is where you might take a blanket or knee pad under your knee if you'd like. Press down to that front foot. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Coming into your low lunge. You might even shift your hips a little forward. And then open up through your chest. Inhale once more, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale, release your hands down to the floor. And then from here, I'm going to start to extend that front leg. Hips stay level as you start to fold a little bit of time over that leg. So we're getting a little hamstring stretch here. What you can do is take a book or block if you have one and place it underneath your left hand to kind of bring the floor up to you a little bit. And then maybe take your right hand. I like to take my right hand to my hip to kind of keep that hip in line with the left. Remember, you're hinging at your hips, not through your spine as you come forward. Any amount's fine. So maybe if you're not me and you have more flexibility here, maybe you find that your head touches your knee. But just, don't force it. You don't want to feel any pain. We're just looking for a nice stretch through your hamstring here. Let's just take one more breath in. And one more breath out. It's called half splits. And then inhale, shift forward back to your lunge. And set your props off to the side and step back to downward facing dog. Take a sec here. And then we'll do the other side. Inhale, lift your left leg back, stretch it back towards the wall behind you. Inhale, slide that foot forward and take your time. Exhale, lower your back knee. Maybe put something underneath it. Knee over your ankle. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Come to your low lunge. Take another breath in. And exhale, hands down to the earth. And we'll start to extend that front leg, the left leg once again. And make your way into your half splits and breathe here. You might be wondering, we're doing back pain, why are we doing a half splits pose? But sometimes if we have tension in our back, that can also stem from having tight hamstrings. So stretching it's all connected, stretching the hamstrings can also help alleviate tension in our back. So just take one more breath in wherever you're at, and always being kind to yourself here. One more breath out. And bend that knee, come back into your lunge here. Place the props off to the side and lift your back toes. Step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, knees bent. Inhale, step your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale, forward fold, let your head hang heavy. You might keep a little bend in your knees. Maybe you place a block underneath the floor to kind of underneath your hands to bring the floor up to you. And then press down to your feet. Inhale, slowly roll all the way up the standing, a little bit at a time. So Come up to standing, step towards the top of your mat, find your mountain pose, Tadasana. Root down through the soles of your feet while lifting up to the crown of your head. Good posture here, everything neatly stacked, shoulders relaxed, down and back. Take your right hand or your left hand to your waist, inhale, right arm reaches up, exhale, slide it over, side body stretch. And inhale, back up again to the opposite side. Take that hand to your waist, reach it up and over, and take a breath out. And inhale, come back up again, exhale, shake it out. We'll take your hands, clasp them behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. And if it's available to you, you can try to really take your hands away from your body. But again, if not, just do what you can here. Let's take one more breath in, really open up through your chest. Exhale, release, and shake it off a little bit. Maybe roll your shoulders a few times if that feels good. Come back to your mountain pose. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale, dive it back down. And this time coming to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. We have the option here. You might take your hands to each opposite elbow and maybe even rock a little from side to side. Just see if you feel release in your upper back around your shoulder blades here. We'll take another breath here. Let it loose, let it relax. And then from here, bend your knees enough again to touch your hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. So really draw your navel in tight, shoulders over your wrists, fingers spread wide, keeping that straight line with your body. So we don't want to see this. We don't want to dump the hips down. You can always do this from your knees as a modification if you'd like. And we'll take just 2 more breaths here. Engaging the core, having a strong core can also help support our spine. Let's take one more breath in, you got this. One more breath out. Squeeze in nice and tight navel into your spine. And exhale back downward facing dog, take a breath in. And exhale down to tabletop and take a brief child's pose. Take a breath here. Inhale, shift forward back to your tabletop. Slide your feet over to one side. Doesn't matter which side it is. Maybe you grab a blanket to sit on. Just take a little comfortable cross-legged seat here, kind of like where we started. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale, a little seated twist. Take your right hand to your left knee. Turn to look out over your shoulder. Inhale, sits you up tall, lengthen your spine. Exhale to twist. There. And any amount is fine. Inhale, look forward, gently unwind from the twist, reach your arms overhead. We'll take it to the other side, this time turning to look out over your right shoulder. Take a breath in. And exhale out. Inhale, look forward, gently unwind. And come back to center. And then from here, if you're sitting on a blanket, scoot off of it again. We're going to make your way all the way down onto your stomach. So lower all the way down onto your stomach here. And once you do that, take a moment, take a breath here, let it relax. And then from here, we're going to come onto your forearms. So shoulders are over your wrist. Or shoulders, sorry, elbows underneath your shoulders. That's what I meant to say. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Shoulders relax down and back. Chest slightly lengthens forward. Let your glutes, let your legs just hang out and relax here. Come into our Sphinx pose. Draw your navel in just a tiny bit to support your spine so we're not crunching your lower back. Just take a couple breaths here. It's kind of like a little therapy, free therapy for your back. Kind of notice anything that releases. Enjoy the simplicity of the pose and just let it feel good. And then exhale, release, lower back down, a little bit of time. And then from here, take your hands back so your thumbs are in line with your ribs. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Draw your shoulder blades together in your back. Inhale, lift your chest up into cobra. It can be a high or low cobra, whatever your choice. And core is engaged. Take one more breath in, strengthening the muscles of our back. And exhale, release down. Rest your chin to one side. Take your arms to the side here. Take a breath. Then we'll lift your legs up while lifting your arms. Lift everything you can from this position. Coming into our locust pose. Crown of your head lengthens forward, feet reach back, and squeezing your shoulder blades together. Core is engaged. Really strengthening our back muscles, lengthening along the front of our body. Take one more breath in. And exhale, release, lower everything back down. And then from here, take your hands forward, press through tabletop. Take your knees out about as wide as your mat. Bring your big toes to touch. Stretch your arms out in front of you and sink your feet to your heels. Wide knee child's pose. Really nice release for your back after doing a series of back bends like that. So just take another breath in. Let it relax. Another breath out. And then press down through the palms of your hands. And gently come back to your tabletop. And we'll slide your feet over to one side. And come to a seat with your knees bent in front of you and your feet on the floor. Check that your feet are parallel to one another, knees over your ankles, and just slowly lower all the way down onto your back. Arms rest to the side, palms facing down. And just check, and again, make sure your knees are over your ankles here. If you need to kind of look a little bit to do that, that's fine. Press your feet into the floor, and then inhale a little bit of time. Start to lift your hips up, lifting your lower, your mid, and then your upper back. And then pause at the top for bridge pose. We'll take about 2 or 3 breaths here. Optional, you might keep your arms where they're at. If you'd like, you might start to squeeze your shoulder, walk your shoulder blades closer together and clasp your hands underneath your back. Another variation here, you might lift your heels up and come onto your toes. We'll take one more breath in wherever you're at. Bridge pose. And exhale, release your arms if needed and slowly lower down a little bit at a time. Upper, mid, and lower back. And when you get here, just give your knees a little hug into your chest, maybe rock a little bit from side to side, kind of releasing any tension in your back, and almost letting the floor sort of knead or massage your spine a little bit here. You can always bring your knees in closer or take them farther out and just kind of experiment, explore to see where you feel a release here. And then when you're ready, you release your feet down to the floor. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Stretch your arm back towards the wall behind you for a full body stretch. Take one more big breath in through your nose. And exhale, big sigh out through your mouth. As you release your arms down to the side, make any movements or adjustments you'd like to make here to set up for Shavasana or corpse pose. So you could always, if you have a blanket, you could roll it up and slide it under your knees or put it underneath your head like a little pillow or anything else that feels good here. But just take a few moments to get comfortable and lie on your back and just let your shoulders, your back relax, sink into the floor. Let your eyes gently close as you return back to your natural breath here. And I'm going to recommend that you pause this video at this time for 5 to 10 minutes. At least 5 minutes is suggested here to settle into Shavasana and just really kind of release from the practice. Let your body gently absorb all the benefits of the practice we did today. I'll invite you to take a moment to pause the video at this time. Maybe just set a little timer on your phone or something for that time. And then once you've done that and you've completed your Shavasana, you can just gently open your eyes, bring your knees in towards your chest, roll over to your right side, pause for a moment here in fetal pose. And then use your arms, mindfully make your way back up to your seat. And as you do so, just take a brief moment here of gratitude towards yourself for taking this time out of your day to come to the practice. And just take a moment as you come back to your seat. Notice if maybe you feel a little less tense in your back, a little bit better today. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's inhale, sweep your arms overhead one more time. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Namaste.